You can't talk about Windows without its arguably most important component, the Start menu. Such a simple concept, right? Click a button and bam, a menu pops out letting you launch programs, apps, or restart or shut down your computer. But I was always curious to see how the Start menu evolved through the years since its introduction, which is why today we're revisiting almost every Windows Start menu and to determine which one was the best and also sort of reflect on how it's changed over the course of the many versions of Windows. Also, just a disclaimer, Start menus can be fairly subjective depending on the type of user you are, and the opinions on which one was the best can vary to say the least. But nonetheless, we're starting our journey with Windows 95 when the first proper Start menu was first introduced. And let's open it right here. It's as simple as it gets. So at the very bottom, you have your shutdown button. You got your run, help, find, settings, where you can find the control panel and printers, of course, very important to find printers. And the control panel itself, as you can see, hasn't changed much. I mean, it's kind of similar to what we have now. But going back to the Start menu, yeah, it was simple. But for the first ever proper Start menu that Windows had, I think it was fairly functional. I mean, at the top, you have your programs here where you got all of your programs, whatever you had installed, so you can quickly launch them, which was pretty important at the time. But can you even restart your computer? I guess if you click here, yeah, so you can restart your computer, just click shutdown, but there is not a separate button for restarting. So yeah, overall, I think a very decent Start menu, but obviously lacks a lot of things that we know and love today. But let's move on to the next one. Windows 98 built on top of Windows 95 and added a few refinements. For instance, the option to simply log out was added, which was pretty neat. Some of the icons were also slightly refined. Oh, and this is very underrated addition. Favorites. Favorites were nice. By the way, this is more of a taskbar thing, but I still wanted to mention that you could now pin apps to this taskbar, which was amazing. Now we're going to be skipping versions Windows ME and Windows 2000, as honestly, the Start menu was almost identical to the one from Windows 98. And that means that yes, we're moving on to the very iconic Windows XP. And this Start menu right here was absolutely legendary. The green Start button and the blue accents. It was simple but beautiful design here. So for the most part, this menu is actually quite similar to the one from Windows 98. And here you have your main sort of apps, then you got your quick pins, or sort of your favorites, if you will. Then on the right, this was a huge addition here as it also added the second column here. So in this case, you had my documents, my recent documents, and my pictures, and my music, and my computer, and the control panel. Very easy access there as well, and nicely done. Separate log off and shut down computer buttons, and of course, they still haven't changed that. The restart button is kind of separate here, and you can also access all your programs. And here is where you can access your games, such as Minesweeper. Hell yeah! Let's see how much time maybe I can win in Minesweeper. Let's see. Cannot, I'm terrible at Minesweeper. So again, this menu was kind of revolutionary in a way that it added that second column, which was a very, very big addition in my opinion. And it's just an iconic little menu. I think most people, when they think about Windows, or at least the older generation, they do think about this Start menu. Just very simple, got your programs, launch your apps. And also if you are curious what the Windows XP control panel looked like, it added also these categories. I don't know why I keep mentioning the control panel, but I think it's just, I'm very fond of this control panel. It was just very neat. One criticism for me personally, it does lack a bit of customization. Like, yes, I can remove these list items here if I don't want to launch the Outlook. Oh man, this does bring up some good memories, but no, MSN, get away. So yes, this menu right here, similar to Windows 98, was customizable. I think you could pin a good number of programs, so I can pin this one, and I can pin Windows Messenger if I really wanted to, but it was fairly limited, all things considered. Also, this menu right here wasn't being able to change it here as well. So yeah, you get what I'm saying here. So 2007 rolls around and Microsoft releases the most hated Windows version up until that point, Windows Vista. Now, we already made a whole dedicated video about Vista that you can check out on our channel, but damn it, I just want to gush about how wonderful Vista's design was again. The arrow theme was just awesome, and it fit the whole Windows style because it's transparent windows. Windows are supposed to be transparent. So here we have the Vista Start menu, and this Start orb is just, it fits so well, man. So let me just open up it right here. And there we go. This is the Windows Vista start menu. Honestly, looking at it right now, it doesn't feel that different from Windows XP one, like function-wise. Like you could still have your customization options right here where you could, if you wanted to remove this from the list. So this functionality was literally identical to the one on Windows XP. But if you wanted to pin something, again, you can just add it to your favorites. But what was very, very special with Windows Vista, and I think it's underrated, was that now you could actually search. That's right, Windows Vista implemented search. So if I wanted to search for Windows Messenger, there you go, it found Windows Messenger. So this addition was very, very nice. Now, Windows Search was implemented into the previous versions, but it wasn't implemented into the start menu itself. And on the right, this one, again, was fairly cool that you could also just restart by just clicking right here. And also your control panel was here, as well as all the recent items and all your folders such as documents, pictures, music, and etc. Overall, this menu, I know Windows Vista was hated for many reasons, but the start menu itself, I think, was pretty nice. I mean, overall, looks wise as well, this was pretty nice that this is sporting like a black theme. So yes, Windows Vista added a function that we honestly still use today. And speaking of being used today, Windows 7 is still being used by millions and millions of computers worldwide, which means that this start menu is still being used on a daily basis somewhere in the world. And honestly, looking at it, comparing it to Windows Vista, yeah, again, not much has changed. Sure, the menu looks a bit lighter and maybe more refined overall, but yeah, I'm not a big fan of this start orb, honestly. It wasn't as integrated into the taskbar as it was with Vista, so I think that was kind of a design downgrade in my opinion. The shutdown button options were also different, as you can see, so it doesn't have the log off button if you wanted to access that. Now you could just click on it, which not a big difference, but overall, Windows 7 was a great OS, don't get me wrong, but I just preferred the way Vista looked overall, and its start menu was just better in my opinion. But that being said, Windows 7's start menu is still goated for the simple reason is that it's just simple. It doesn't overwhelm the user with too many things, as we'll see a bit later. It's just functional. Perhaps not as, customizable as, the more recent versions of Windows, but still pretty good overall. Honestly, my biggest problem with the 7's start menu was that they had a chance to make it better, but they just kind of stuck around with what they had previously. By the way, are you tired of being stuck on VPN that has device limits? Most VPNs only let you set up a limited number of devices with a VPN, but not with Surfshark. Have 10, 20 different computers, smartphones, or other devices in your household? Surfshark will let you set up each and every one of them. Did I also mention that Surfshark VPN has over 3,200 servers worldwide? That not only means that you'll have a huge variety of countries to connect to, but also that you'll have a stable and fast connection. So whether you want to be secure on public Wi-Fi, level up your online privacy, or access something like TikTok if it's banned in your country, India, I'm looking at you. Then Surfshark VPN is the best option for you. Its value is just crazy, being very affordable, and with our special code Academy, you'll get also 3 additional months extra. So yeah, now back to the video. Hey, if you use Windows, you probably have a touchscreen, right? You don't?
What's wrong with you?
It's probably what Microsoft said in 2012 because they released the most hated Windows OS known in existence, second to Windows Vista, of course. And that is Windows 8. That's right, we are looking at the launch edition of Windows 8, and the start menu here is just, what's the best word to describe it? Horrible. Horrible is the best way to describe it. So as you can see, Windows 8 said, screw all of this nonsense of being able to, launch programs simple. No, instead they added this start menu, which just looks like it was designed for tablets. And guess what? It was designed for tablets. Yeah, this menu was just not very good. This literally is it. As you can see, it features big tiles that you can click on. So if I wanted to access the calendar, I can just press on it, and it takes the whole screen as well, which was not very good. And if I wanted to go back, I can click the button here, or they also added this menu here, where you had to kind of go into the corner of the screen and it would open up this menu. So you could go back to search or click on the start menu to go back, or go to settings. Now, how do you access your desktop? Well, you clicked on this flower menu and you got your desktop. What were they thinking? Seriously. But if you wanted to access your start menu again, no, you can't go to the left. No. You have to go to the top right and go to start. So this is how it worked. perfect. So yeah, if we take a look at this start menu, it's just simply too big. It just feels like I'm using a tablet on a PC, literally. So for a touchscreen PC or a tablet, this menu might even be pretty good, but for a non-touchscreen PC user, yeah, not good at all. And that's exactly what the feedback was, and Microsoft did try to fix this menu in Windows 8.1. So here we are in Windows 8.1, and as you can see, one of the biggest differences here is that we actually have a proper desktop now, which was pretty nice. Thank you, Microsoft. And you have your taskbar as well, which again is nice. But if you click on the start menu, as you can see, the start menu is still kind of similar to what we had previously. It still takes up the whole screen, which is not ideal. And it still has these huge tiles, like the weather tile is just humongous. We're not online, obviously, right now. It's running via VM. But as you can see, honestly, the tile size is probably my biggest issue, just taking too much space. I don't want the start menu to take up the whole screen. I don't think it makes sense, honestly. Well, it was an improvement. I don't think it was a good enough improvement. So I think at this point, Microsoft was just like, scrap this whole thing and let's move on to Windows 9. I'm sorry, Windows 10. Windows 9 doesn't exist. So let's go do that one right now. And now we arrive at the last version of Windows. Wrong. Yeah, if you believe Microsoft, it would have been the last version of Windows, but no, Windows 10 is just, I mean, it's Windows 10, but then, you know, we had other versions of Windows. And this is the start menu that came with Windows 10. And honestly, it's not that bad. Actually, I really like this menu. It builds on the improvements made with Windows 8.1 and has the standard list of apps on the left with live tiles on the right that are properly sized, might I add. New is this left panel for turning off your PC, so you can access also your, this would pop out and you could access things like your power settings, pictures, and your profile here. But the highlight, again, for me personally, was this right tile menu, which you wouldn't expect as much as I hated the live tiles. But this added a lot of customization. So you could pin a lot of the apps that you wanted. You can also name them into folders. So I could name this something like, video games, or something like that, and just pin my games here to quickly access them. Overall, it was just nicely streamlined design. And by the way, don't like the tiles? No problem, just unpin them. Like just right click and uninstall or unpin from the start. Very simple. That being said though, when Windows 10 was released and I got to use it for a couple of years, I did get to use the tiles that I'd organize my tiles into groups like productivity, gaming, utilities, tools, and such. Beyond that, I did even add custom icons to them using third-party programs. We'll discuss rankings later on in the video, but spoiler alert, Windows 10 start menu for me personally ranks extremely high. It retained the simplicity of the older menus while refining what had already started with Windows 8.1, such as more customization and the whole tile menu. And finally, we arrive to Windows 11. Where's the start menu? I thought it was supposed to be on the left. Oh wait, they thought it looked better on the center, so they added the start menu to the center, which here's how it looks like. So it moved the start menu to the middle because it looked so elegant. I mean, look at it, the way it just pops from the middle, it just looks so nice. All right, so in my opinion, the Windows 11 start menu is almost perfect, almost. By the way, don't worry, you can change the start menu to appear on the left if you wanted to in the settings, which is pretty neat, I think, if you're old-fashioned like me, not like those Apple-esque design lovers. So right off the bat, this menu looks pretty nice. While live tiles were really cool and all, I think we can all appreciate these smaller icons, which, while they don't display as much information as probably live tiles do, or some of the supported ones that had those, widget type information shown to them. Even for any desktop PC, I think those tiles were just a bit too big for desktop use, which is why Windows 11 made icons so, you could put more stuff, which I think was a very nice improvement. At the top, you have your search, which, okay, I'd really prefer it to be on the bottom, but whatever. Next, you got your pins, of course, as well as access to all apps if you need it, though searching is probably way faster anyway. But this is where Microsoft kind of loses me with this menu. The dreaded recommended section. Yes, you knew I was going to talk about this. You see, Microsoft thinks they know better than you on what kind of apps or programs or shortcuts you want to access. Like recent open ones, you'll see those apps and stuff pinned in the recommended menu. This concept actually isn't new at all, as many Android launchers have this feature where they'll try to guess which apps you use the most and show them either on the top of the app drawer or on your home screen. However, personally, I don't like guesswork and I like the things where they are. And yeah, this just kind of sucks that you cannot remove this recommended section anywhere. So if I go to the settings and then go to start menu settings, Yes, as you can see, I can select it to be more pins, which is what I prefer, but there is no option to completely disable the recommendations altogether. They do have an option to have more recommendations if you prefer that. And this menu where it says show recommended for stuff, this doesn't really change anything. And the menu just looks like this, which again, still curious why that hasn't been added as an option to disable this section. Anyway, other than that, this start menu, there's just a lot of missed opportunities for customization in general with this menu, like custom start menu backgrounds. Imagine how cool it would be to add your own gradient or picture background to the start menu to add a bit of personality. Also, you can set custom start menu folder icons. So like, yes, you can make folders. So by dragging stuff on top of each other, I can make a folder, I can open it, I can edit the name, just like I could on Windows 10, so blah, 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 blah. But as you can see, it will just remain as this kind of whatever app auto-generated icon, and I can't really change it. Kind of sucks. So again, it's just such an easy win that they did not take. So now that we've taken a look at all of the start menus, where do we rank them? So Windows 95 and Windows 98, I honestly put them into the C tier. Like for their time, they were pretty nice, but they're ranked, if ranking things in terms of modern PC standards, I think a C tier is a fair assessment. Simple start menus that get the job done. Windows XP did improve on the menu, but the lack of search and general customization, I think, honestly, B tier is a pretty decent ranking for it. Like, I know nostalgia can be blinding, literally, and people think these menus are amazing, but really, if you use them today, you would understand that improvements have been made over the past 2 decades, for sure. Windows Vista start menu holds a special place in my heart, as its design is so awesome, yet it also added some crucial features like search. Easy A tier, in my opinion, maybe a bit controversial. Windows 7 did add improvements to the menu, like you could pin programs, which was great, but I feel like design-wise, it felt a bit of a step back. Not a big step back, but a step back nonetheless. Again, opinions here, but overall, still a goated menu, and I think A tier is a great place. And now Windows 8, D tier, honestly, F tier, I don't know, the lowest tier possible. And do I even need to elaborate? No, but seriously, Windows 8 start menu was just really the core issue of the whole OS. Like, it took down the whole operating system in terms of how bad the start menu was to use on a non-touchscreen PC. However, if you do use a touchscreen PC, and I've spoken to people in the past where they say, if you use Windows 8 start menu on a touchscreen PC or on a tablet, it actually works pretty well. And so maybe even Windows 8 Launch Edition start menu, if used on a touchscreen, could deserve a B tier? Question mark. Windows 8.1 is a B tier as well. Massive changes were made to try and salvage Windows 8, and for the most part, I think they kind of succeeded, but it was, I think, just too little too late. That being said, this start menu is solid, and yeah, just B tier, I think, is fair to rank it there. Here we go. Windows 10. Look, might, make some folks angry here with this opinion, but seriously, Windows 10 start menu was the best for me. They refined the tiles, made some design changes. It was just, again, the blend of old and new for me, but I just really like this menu a lot, and I think it deserves to be an S tier. I know, a bit controversial there. Windows 11 start menu, on the other hand, is it's not perfect. Again, I still think that they missed a lot of opportunities to make it better. Not enough customization. The recommendation section is still here, and it's just not quite there yet, in my opinion. They are making improvements, so maybe my ranking will change, and we are starting to get closer and closer to peak start menu design for sure. But the menu is good. Certain customization options are there, like folder, start menu, button position, etc. But it's lacking little touches, again, like folder icon customization. And you can't really emulate the older layouts like you could with Windows 10, right? Like, you can have your apps as a list, and on the right, you could have your pins. Like, you can no longer have that with Windows 11. So that's a bit of a downgrade, honestly. I'd also love it if, I could also add like widgets of apps and different things like that, like have an app calendar widget on a Windows 11 start menu. That I think would be a really, really cool option. So again, more customization options are just always welcome. Just like you're always welcome to go watch more of our videos, like this one about Microsoft Edge. And why is a browser that's more feature-rich than Google Chrome is not more popular? Go watch that video next, and take care for now. Have a good one.